Hello and welcome to my podcast. My name is Jessica McDonald. I am a knitting pattern designer and I'm coming to you from a tiny town in the mountains of Idaho. Today is Thursday, April 6th. It is Thursday, April 6th. We have about, the window's just there, that's why I'm looking there. We have about 2 feet of snow on the ground right now, which is entirely crazy. Usually our snow is gone by the middle of March, third week of March. Some piles that are in shady places will stay into April, but to have 2 feet of snow, like complete snow cover on the ground in almost the end of the first week of April is absolutely unheard of. My mother-in-law was chatting with an older gentleman who's lived here since 1947, and he said this is the most snow that has ever been on the ground at the beginning of April in his entire life. So this is a once-in-a-lifetime kind of thing, I guess. We're going to be doing our Easter egg hunt on Sunday in my snowy garden, which I can see right outside this window. It's in the snow. So, like I said, I am a knitting pattern designer. If you like what I make, please sign up for my newsletter. There is a link to do that in the description box below. When I release new patterns, you will get an exclusive 20% discount on new patterns. You will also get a 20% discount code in your welcome email that you can use for anything in my any of my independently published patterns on Ravelry or everything on my website. So sign up for my newsletter, please. You can also find my website and my Ravelry designer page. There's links in the description box below this video. So, I do have to be a little bit professional, I suppose, and like and subscribe to this video. If I don't tell you to like and subscribe, maybe I'm a bad YouTuber. I am generally a bad YouTuber. Anyway. If I sound a bit nasally, it's because I have COVID. I'm getting better. I'm almost completely better. But yes, that has been the latest bug in our family. But we're almost done with it, so anyway. I have a work in progress. Oh, not a work in progress. I have a finished object to show you that you never saw as a work in progress, which I know is pretty rare for my podcast. Usually you see things multiple times before they're done because I don't have the knitting time that other podcasters have. But I have a finished object to show you. It is this sweet little t-shirt that I am wearing. I have named it Violet. So I decided 2 years ago now, that I would name all of my summer tee designs or summery garment designs after Idaho wildflowers. But I think I'm going to run out of names in not very much longer because like last year was Wyathia. No, 2 years ago now was Wyathia, which is commonly called mule's ears. But I went with Wyathia. I thought it was prettier. And then this year's Violet. And there's a few other nice names, but then we get into things like skunkweed and old man's beard. So I think at that point I'll just abandon the Idaho wildflowers theme and just go with flowers after that. So this is Violet. It is knit from the top down seamlessly. It's drop shoulder. I did not knit it with very much ease. It's got a little short cap sleeve here. The main thing about it is it has this really pretty lace hem. You can see it's just a very, very simple lace and then you finish it off with ribbing. You can see it's a bit cropped. Here's my hips. Here's my natural waist. So it's a little bit below my natural waist. And I knit it a little bit cropped because I want to wear it just like I'm wearing it today. And I'll just move this chair. I'll show you a little bit better. So you see I'm wearing it on top of one of my dresses. Here it is, there's the back. And I wanted it to have to wear it just like this, just throw it on over my dress because this is a sleeveless dress. It doesn't have any sleeves at all. And it's not always warm enough to wear a sleeveless linen dress, so I just wanted something light and pretty and simple that I could just throw on over any dress, just like this, and it looks cute. I think it looks cute. Anyway, I really like this, and I am sure that I will wear it a lot. Sorry for all of the chair scraping noises. So you start this one. Oh, this is very awkward. I'm just going to take it off. Going to take it off. In case you were wondering, this dress is from Not Perfect Linen. It is, they are a company from Lithuania, I believe, and they just make linen clothing. They are one of my favorite places to get dresses from. This is the Valley dress in the color forest green. The only modification I made was I added loop ties in the back so I can cinch in the waist a little bit. They do let you modify things, so that's really nice. So this is the back of Violet, and you cast on here at the back neck, and then you work increases as you work the yoke. So you work increases every single row, right side and wrong side, and that gives you this shoulder slope here, and another one on the other side. And then you just knit straight on the back until you're to the appropriate depth, and then you come back and you pick up stitches along the back where you worked your increases, that whole sloped line. You pick up increases along there, and you have this really pretty simple single stitch detail, that's chain that runs along there. Let's see if I can show you. Let's hold it properly so you can see how it looks. So it looks like so. A really simple detail along there, and then you work the front. So you work this front around here, and all you do, this is really drapey yarn. You work some increases here, and then you pick up the other front and you knit down and you work the neckline increases, and then you cast on in the center here to finish off your neckline, and then you just knit the front straight for a while, and then you join it in the round. You just cast on stitches in the underarm, and then put the back stitches back on your working needle, and then you work in the round until you get down to the hem. Very pretty little lace hem. And then once you finish the hem, you come back and you pick up around the armhole for these really short little sleeves. You could definitely knit these longer if you wanted to, but I just wanted a really short sleeve. And then you also pick up for the neckline and just work ribbing for the neckline. So it's very simple. It's a very simple little t-shirt. So see, I like to buy my dresses without sleeves because then I can wear them all year round. So like this time of year, I'll put on a heavy wool cardigan or like my silver birch pullover over top of it, and I can wear this. I've got a pair of wool leggings on that you can't see, but I've got a pair of black wool leggings on, and if I put my linen dress on and then I put a warm wool sweater on, then I can wear this all year round. And then come summer, as you know, it warms up, I just shed layers as we go, and then in the middle of the summer I'll just wear the dress by itself like this. But then I wanted a little layer that I could throw on days when it's, you know, it's not really hot, it's kind of cool, and it's not quite warm enough to wear just a sleeveless dress by itself. And so then I can just throw this on, and it's really pretty, and it still looks really summery, and it's not overly warm because it doesn't have long sleeves and it's not heavy, but it just adds a little more warmth for those cool days when you need just a little bit more. So this, I knit mine with about 4 inches of positive ease, maybe 4.5-ish inches of positive ease here. I was debating on whether I should make the second size with about 4 inches of positive ease or the third size with about 8 inches of positive ease, and I ultimately decided to do the size with only about 4 inches of positive ease. I don't generally like to wear super oversized things, especially in the summer. Like, I like it a little bit loose, but not like huge and drapey and like fabric everywhere. I just want it a little bit loose, a little bit drapey, enough ease in it that it can layer over all of my dresses, but still not a ton of ease. So this is what I wanted. Plus then at the end of the day I was like, well, size 2 will knit up a lot faster than size 3, so I'll just make size 2. So I made size 2 with about 4 inches of positive ease. You could knit this with up to like 10 or 12 inches of positive ease if you wanted something that fits really loose. I knit it from the top down so that it's really easy to modify the length. So if you want yours longer to make an actual like t-shirt to wear with shorts, then you could easily do that. Or if you wanted to even make it a little bit shorter, I know a lot of people like to knit things just to their natural waist. I knit mine like a couple inches longer than that, but if you wanted to knit, it's really easy to modify the length if you want to modify the length. That's what I'm trying to say. This is my first time designing something and knitting something with this construction method. So I took some time to learn about it, and I bought several patterns that use this construction method from Danish designers who are really good at this kind of construction, just so I could read through the pattern and kind of deconstruct it and figure out how it works, how this construction style works. And I was really pleasantly surprised, because I was kind of thinking that it would be a little bit complicated. Like, I know it's really popular right now. A lot of people are designing sweaters with this construction method, and a lot of people are knitting sweaters with this construction method, and for some reason, I don't know why, but for some reason I thought it would be a lot harder than it is. I thought it would be kind of complicated, like this little single knit stitch detail. Like, I was like, how do you do that? Like, that's got to be so hard to get that in there. Like, you got to slip a stitch somewhere or something, but it's so easy. It's like, this is one of the easiest construction styles I have ever knit. I'm not kidding you. To get this little single stitch detail, you knit 2 stitches, then work your increase, and then when you come back and you pick up stitches, you take away the one that's on the edge and you're left with 1 single stitch there, and that makes that detail, that little simple detail that I think is so pretty. It's so simple. So you're only ever doing one thing at one time. You cast on for the back neck, and then you're just increasing. And most knitters can increase. Even if you're a really new knitter, most people can increase fairly easily. Sorry, my throat's getting a bit scratchy. Most people can increase just fine. It's not like a really difficult technique to increase, even though you are increasing on the wrong side rows as well. So that's a little more complicated than just to make one left, make one right. But it's only, no, it really isn't. It really isn't. And there are lots of video tutorials, and I will provide you with video tutorials so you don't have any trouble with it. And then you just knit straight, and then you pick up stitches. Actually, picking up stitches might be the most complicated thing. And then you pick up the stitches, and then as you're working each front, like you're just working this side straight, and you just have to work neckline increases on this side, and the same with the other one. You pick up, and then all you're doing is doing neckline increases on one side. So you're only ever like doing one thing at a time, and then you cast on here and you work straight. There's a lot of just working straight, and then you join in the round with the underarm and you just work in the round. And then you pick up sleeves and knit them in the round. Yeah, picking up the neckline and working the neckline might be another tricky technique, but I have a video tutorial already on picking up a neckline, stitches for a neckline. You can find it in my tutorials playlist in my channel. So it's actually a really, really easy, a really simple and really straightforward construction method. And I was kind of blown away by how easy it is. Because I don't know why I thought it was hard. Honestly, I don't know why I thought it was going to be tricky and complicated. Like, I don't know why. But I did. I thought it was going to be kind of complex, but it wasn't. It was so easy. So, yeah. So this is the violet tee. It is currently with the tech editor, And then after that, I'll start the test knit, so late next week, maybe in a week from this filming date, I'll be starting the test knit, and then I'm planning to release it at the beginning of June. So sign up for my newsletter. That's where you will hear about it. Now let me tell you about the yarn. So this is done in collaboration with Bare Naked Wools, and I am using their Modern Deco Sport. I'm not going to try holding this up because I know it won't focus. So this is 400 yards per skein. They're huge. This is leftover from the third skein. The smallest size only uses 2 skeins of yarn. This size uses 3 skeins of yarn, and there's a fair bit left over. So it's not a yarn hungry project, and the skeins are enormous. 400 yards. It is a sport weight yarn. Where is the fiber content? Okay, this is 50% tencel and 50% fine wool. I'm running out of my 20 minutes, so I'm going to stop my camera and then I'm going to restart it, and then I'm going to tell you about the yarn. This is 50% tencel, which is, I'm not sure how is tencel made? What is tencel made out of? Tencel is a type of rayon like viscose or modal. Cellulose fiber made by dissolving wood pulp and using a special drying process called spinning. Okay, so it's made out of cellulose from wood pulp. I'm sure that the manufacturing is somewhat involved, but then the other 50% is fine wool. For some reason I thought it was Targhee, but I guess it just says fine wool on here. So when I originally got this yarn, I was planning to make a little t-shirt with a lace yoke, a circular yoke t-shirt with a lace yoke. I had a really simple kind of wavy lace design charted out, and I thought it would work perfectly with this yarn. But the trouble is, this yarn is insanely drapey. Like, I would compare its drapiness to linen. It is that drapey. It is insanely, like, this is weird. I'm sorry. It is extremely drapey, so it wasn't working with the lace pattern that I originally had planned for this. It was just ending up kind of floppy and messy, and it just didn't look right, and it wasn't the right use for this yarn because it is so drapey. So I decided to stop fighting the drape and switch gears and make something drop shoulder, because drop shoulder and drapey yarn are just a match made in heaven. So I decided to switch from my original plan of making a lace yoke, circular yoke t-shirt, and just make a top down, drop shoulder, boxy t-shirt, and then take my lace. I still wanted to do lace because I really, really love lace in the spring and the summer. It's just like lace and summer just go together in my mind. So I still really wanted to incorporate lace in the design. So I found a much simpler lace motif. Like, this is much simpler. You can't see it. Oh, you can see it here. I put it up there. You might hear my 3-year-old. My husband just came in with the other kids and he's mad. My 3-year-old is mad. He is making sure everyone knows how mad he is. It's okay, my husband has him. So I went for a much, much simpler lace pattern because I thought that would work better with this super drapey yarn. And it did, it worked a lot better. Something a lot simpler, a lot smaller repeat, a lot more straightforward motif to it, and it was a much better pairing for the yarn because the yarn is just so drapey. So this is here's the lace. It's very simple. It's just 6 stitches, well, 6 plus 1, and then it's 6 rows. So there's 3 repeats of the lace going down. So it's about 3 inches, a little more than 3 inches of lace here, and then a little simple ribbed hem. So simpler lace just worked a lot better with this because it is so drapey. It's insane. It's just kind of insane how drapey it is. I was expecting that since it has 50% wool in it, I was expecting that it would have a lot more stitch definition and a lot more structure to the yarn, but the tencel just kind of, excuse me, the tencel kind of overrides the wool, and it is a fine wool, so fine wool tends to be drapier. So I'm feeling kind of rough. So it's just, the tencel kind of takes charge and makes it incredibly drapey, and the fine wool doesn't have enough structure on its own to resist the drapiness of the tencel. Maybe, hopefully that makes sense. So as I was knitting it, I would compare the slipperiness of it to linen and the way the fabric behaves. I would compare it to the drapiness of linen, but it doesn't feel like linen at all, the final fabric. My low battery just went on. Oh goodness. I'm gonna put this one on my charger and then I can change it out in a minute. Having a little bit of a dramatic podcast here. So it's drapey like linen, but it doesn't feel anything like linen in the finished fabric. The wool, when you block it, the wool really blooms and softens, and so you end up with a really cohesive fabric. You know how linen is kind of airy? When you knit it, it's an airy fabric, and it's like you can see through the stitches. Unless you knit it at a really tight gauge, you can kind of see through the stitches, and there's kind of little, the fabric is, I don't want to say holy, but it's, you know, it's a breezy fabric. There's none of that with this. It's just the wool portion of the yarn blooms really nicely, and you get a completely cohesive fabric. There's no holes in it, there's no airiness, there's no like see-throughness to it. So if you wanted to wear this, a garment made out of this yarn without anything underneath, your bra wouldn't show through. So yeah, it blooms nicely. You can't see through the fabric, except for the lace portion, I guess. And then the wool also makes it have a really, really soft hand to it. Like, it doesn't feel, once you've blocked it, like when you're knitting it, it feels a bit slippery and it looks a little bit shiny, but then once you block it and the wool blooms, you end up with a really soft hand to it, and it takes that shine away, and it's not slippery looking or shiny looking. It's just really, really, really soft. It's just a really soft hand to it, but I don't think it's gonna pill a whole lot. Like, you know, a really soft yarn is going to pill a lot, but I don't think that this is going to do that. It still has a really smooth feel to the fabric. Of course, I haven't worn it really beyond 5 minutes just to make sure it fits right. But I don't expect that this yarn is going to pill a bunch. It doesn't seem like it's going to pill, but it's incredibly soft. I hear footprints. Maybe my child is coming to find me and complain. So it's got a really, really soft feel to it, a really soft hand to it. It makes a really, really nice fabric. It's very soft. I would say it's softer than merino even. It's got a silkiness to it and a softness to it. Like I've said before, it's really hard to describe to you without actually like letting you touch the fabric. It's really hard to describe to you what the fabric is like unless I can like hand it to you so you can touch it yourself, because all of these terms are subjective. Like drapiness is kind of subjective, and softness and wooliness, and all of these terms are entirely subjective. So it's really hard to describe the fabric, but it's very soft, it's very drapey, it has a bit of a silky feel to it, but it's not like a slippery feel. It doesn't feel cool like linen feels cool and smooth. This one doesn't feel cool like that. The wool content of the yarn makes it feel a little bit more like wool That's a silly thing to say. But yeah, it's a really nice yarn. And like I said, it's 400 yards per skein. So if you go over to their website and you see it, it is one of their more expensive yarns. It is a lot of yarn per skein. So don't balk at it too much. It's a really beautiful yarn. You could use this to knit something for a baby very easily. It's really beautiful for a drapey project. If you want to use it for something where you need drape. Don't do it for something where you need structure. Use it for something where you need drape. So hopefully that gives you a good yarn review. I can't remember how many colors they have, but there are several natural colors of this yarn. So this is Bare Naked Wool's Modern Deco Sport, and this is the violet t-shirt. Well, it's going to be called Violet. This is Violet, and the pattern will be out hopefully at the beginning of June. Please sign up for my newsletter so I can tell you all about it. Now I'm going to change my battery and tell you about my work in progress that you can see right here. If you watched my last episode, you may remember the little baby dress that I knit for my sister for her baby shower, and my story about how I was extremely rushed getting it done. Well, I did not weigh any of my yarn as I went along, and so as I was finishing up the pattern and getting ready to start the test knit, I realized there was absolutely no way for me to provide even a ballpark of yardage estimates of how much yarn you needed to knit this thing. So I went through my yarn. I still had leftovers of the contrast colors because it uses very little. It uses very little of the contrast. Ooh, I'm all tangled. It uses very little of the contrast colors, so I still had enough of that, but I needed a new main color. So I have a couple full skeins of Goland. This is Durham Natura Ulisse. I had a couple full skeins of Goland plus some odds and ends of Goland, so I thought I have enough of this gray that I could knit the smallest size again. I have enough of all the contrast colors that I could knit it again, and then I can come up with a yardage estimate, because my husband was telling me, like, just have your sister weigh the dress, which would be easy enough, except it uses 5 colors, and I need to know how much of each individual color was used so that I can tell you how much you need of each individual color. Like, the total weight of the dress doesn't give me enough information to calculate my yardage. It wouldn't even be enough to tell me how much main color I would need. If I was going to give you a yardage estimate for knitting this pattern in one single color, I could calculate that off of the total weight of the dress, but I couldn't calculate all of the yardage estimates. I also could not just weigh my leftover yarn and go based off of that. So a skein of Ulisse is supposed to have 50 grams in it, 50 grams of yarn. But when you look at the number on a ball band, it does not mean that that is exactly how much yarn is in that skein. It means it's about how much yarn is in that skein. If you weigh each individual skein, you will find that they vary by several grams. So like this skein of Goland that like brand new, so I had 2 skeins that were brand new. One weighed 54 grams and one weighed 55 grams. Like 5 grams doesn't seem like enough of a difference. Like if I calculated from 50 grams instead of 55, when I really used 55 grams, it doesn't seem like it would make a huge error in my yardage calculations. But when you're talking about a little itty bitty teeny tiny thing that uses like 2 grams of one color, it would make my calculations wildly inaccurate. Like, it would be completely unreliable to calculate my yardage estimates based off of just how much was left, not knowing how much I started with. Like, it could have been 50 grams, it could have been 52 grams, it could have been 53 grams, it could have been 49 grams. So I don't know exactly how much was used, so I cannot possibly calculate an accurate yardage estimate because I don't know exactly how much was used. So, so I'm knitting it again so that I can weigh all of my yarn before I started. And now I weighed it after I finished the yoke, so I'll be able to calculate the yardage for just the yoke. And then I'm going to calculate how much is used in the hem color work so that I can calculate how much is used in just the hem. And then I will have an accurate yardage estimate to provide to you, knitter, so that when you buy this pattern, you can buy the right amount of yarn, or if you're using leftovers for this, you can make sure you have the right amount of yarn. So that is why I'm knitting another little dress. I decided to name it Flora. I was trying to decide if I wanted to name my baby patterns like flower names, or maybe old lady, like vintage old lady names, like Hazel and Eleanor and Agnes. I love those names. I just absolutely love them. My husband hates them and would not let me name any of our children those beautiful names, so I thought I could use those in my patterns. I could name my patterns after those beautiful names. And this has it has the little flower. Hang on, I'm not sitting very close, so you can't see it very well because this is bad contrast color. The main color is too close in color value to the contrast color to make it show up really well, which I'll tell you about in a minute. But you can see there's a little repeat of flowers there. So I thought I would name it Flora because there's a little repeat of flowers. It's an old-fashioned name, and I just thought it worked really pretty with this little dress. So that's what I have been knitting over the last few days. It's taking me longer than I had hoped because I don't have as much knitting time as most podcasters do. So I've got the yoke done. I'm down to working the hem color work here. And then I'll just, tiny little sleeves will take no time at all. This is the 3-month size. When I'm looking at it in the screen, I'm wondering if perhaps I made the skirt too long. No, it won't be too long. I don't think so. I don't think it will be too long. But it's just tiny. So this is the smallest size that the pattern comes in. I decided against doing like a newborn size. This one is like I think it's a 17¼ inches around the chest. You could knit it for a newborn if you wanted to, and then you can just, you know, roll up the sleeve cuff if the sleeves are too long, or you could just do like little short sleeves because they grow into it. And that's one thing that I started doing with Aiden, is making his sweaters too big, and then you just roll up the cuffs on the sleeves and they can wear it for 2 years instead of 1. Well, when they get a little bit older, but as a baby they can just wear it for a few extra months. Excuse me. So this is Flora. It's knit in sport weight yarn. Durham Natura Ulisse is the exact yarn that I am using for my sample. Both samples, this one and the other one. If you look at it, you can see that the colors that are being used in this sample are not as good as the colors I've used in the previous sample, which was just absolutely stunning and gorgeous. And all of the color work popped and sang, and it was just, oh, angels singing from the heavens. It was perfect. And you can see now things don't really stand out, and it looks kind of okay. It looks okay, but it doesn't look amazing. And that is because this main color that I'm using, the Goland, is very similar in color value to the pink Argyle and the blue Ciel. So if you take these 3 colors, that's kind of a little more room here. If you take these 3 colors and you take a picture of them with your cell phone, and then you convert that picture to black and white, they will all be the same shade of gray. There will be no noticeable difference between the shades of gray that these 3 are. That means that these 3 colors have the exact same color value. So even though they are different colors, when you take colors that are the same color value and you knit them into color work together, it means that you can't really see the color work motif very well. And these 2, the blue and the gray, are very, very close. This one's teeny bit darker, but these two are very, very close, and so you really can't see the blue. If you can see it when it's against the dark purple, the amaranthine, you can see when it's against this color, which is very dark, you can see. But when you have the blue and the gray in the same round together, if you look very closely, you can see it, but if you hold it at arm's length, you cannot see it. You cannot see the motif. And if you remember, I'll see if I can put a photo in. I don't know if I am technologically adept enough to put a photo in to show you the other sample, but obviously I don't have it. My sister has it. In this bottom section of the color work, there is a single round of the blue color that is used as the wow color, the pop color, or I have one Fair Isle book that refers to it as the poison of your color work motif. It just stands out, and it's just like bold and just makes your whole color work motif just scream, I'm amazing. I don't know, that doesn't make a lot of sense. But it stands out really strongly, and it gives you that pop of color that looks amazing. But in this yoke, in the sample number 1 that I made for my sister, it stands out. It looks amazing. In this sample, you can't see it. You cannot see it at all. It's right through here, and you can't see it at all. So what was amazing, an amazing pop of color, and just made my color work just fantastic in sample number 1 is now not even showing up at all in sample number 2, all because my main color and my color that's supposed to be my poison, my pop of beautiful screaming contrast color, are the exact same color value. So it doesn't work. Why did I use these colors together? Well, because I had this already, and I didn't want to buy more yarn. Just submit a sample to calculate yardage from. It's basically why I'm knitting this. Like, I have nobody to give this to. I have no baby to put this on. Like, maybe I should just give it to my sister. Again, although it's not going to be warm enough for my niece. Like, it's going to be too warm for my niece to wear this when she is the size that she will fit into this, because she's going to fit into this in like June. It's going to be too hot to wear a wool dress in June. So like, I have nobody to give this to. I'll just put it in my cedar chest and someday have another niece maybe. But I already had this yarn. I didn't want to buy more yarn. And so I thought I'll just use it. Even though it's not perfect, I'll use it. And then as I was knitting it, I was thinking this is a really good example of doing it wrong. And this is a really good example for me to show people what happens when you use the same color value. So perhaps it has educational value to all of you, because it doesn't look really great. Like, it looks okay, it's pretty, it's cute, but it doesn't look amazing, and it doesn't look fantastic, and it's not like people are going to be like, ooh, ah. No, maybe people still will ooh and ah because they are polite, but it does not look as good as the other sample. It just doesn't. It can look cute, it can look nice, but it just doesn't look as good because my main color is the same color value as my contrast colors. So what I needed to do, the thing you need to do to have a successful color palette for this dress is you need to pick 5 different color values. These two, this is color 2 and color 3 can be fairly close to each other. They can be fairly close in color value, but I would suggest that color 3, which is the Argyle, should be a little bit darker than color 2. But then color 4, which is your main color, the color that is like the gray, the one that's used in the background of the color work yoke and is for the, you know, body of the skirt and the sleeves. This one needs to have a darker color value, noticeable darker color value as compared to 2 and 3. So this one needs to be darker than 2 and 3. And then color, this is 5. Color 5 needs to be really dark. It needs to be super duper dark. Like when I take pictures of this and I convert it to black and white, this one looks almost black. And then if you want to have a bright pop of color, like a screaming, singing, oh, the poison for your color work, color 2 needs to be bright. In this, it's not very bright because I'm not a neon type of person. But if you wanted to do something really bright, like a bright pink or a neon green or some bright color, or yeah, something neon or something bright, that needs to be color 2. But it still needs to be a light color value. So it needs to be a light shade of gray when you convert it to black and white in your photo, but it can be a bright color, like the tone of it can be bright, like a chartreuse or something like that. Something bright to just pop and sing and scream, I'm here. So this one needed to be darker. These two are okay. This one is slightly darker than this one, so it's okay. This one needed to be darker. This one is nice and dark, so that's good. And then color 1, which is used for 2 rounds of design, needs to be really light. So this is, it's not a pure white, it's got some gray heather in it, but it's basically white. I had it on hand and it really made it work better. But if you didn't want to get a color 1, when you're working through the chart, you only use it for 2 rounds. So the first time you use, sorry for licking my finger, but I'm trying to find my other chart. The first time you use it is in round 4, and you could swap it out for color 3. And then the second time you use it is in round 9, and you could swap it out for color 2 or color 5 if you wanted to swap it. When I write the pattern, I'm going to include this information so that when you're choosing your colors, you have the information that you need right there in the pattern for you. I'm also going to write a blog post all about all of this, like a lot of resources for you, and I'll link it in the pattern so that as you're going through this pattern and you're trying to find the perfect colors, it will be there for you. So there will be a lot of help for you, but this sample will be a good way to illustrate to you what I mean. And I'm gonna see if I can, I have videos of my children sledding. It is April 6th and my children are sledding. So here I have a photo on my phone. I'm gonna just focus on that. So you can't really, yeah, that's what this is. They're playing in the snow. He's making silly faces. Let's go back to my photo. You can't really see over here, that you can't see, it's disappeared into my table, is this color, the amaranthine, it's super dark. And then the next one that you see, the second one right there, that's Argyle, this one. And then the next one that you see is Goland, this one, right there is this one. And the very next one over is the blue, CL, which is this one. And then that very last one over here on the, I have no idea what side this is for you, is the white. So you can see that these 3 in the middle are basically the same shade. This one is a little bit lighter, this one is much, much darker. But these 3 are the exact same color gray in this photo. And that is why this color work does not work out very well. So hopefully that was interesting to you instead of long-winded and boring. Like I said, I'm going to write, I've taken photos of all this, and I'm going to write a really detailed blog post, and I'll include it in an email as I am releasing this pattern, so that you have all of the information at hand when you have the pattern in your hands to make up the right choice, the right color choice, and make a good color choice so that your color work sings amazingly like sample 1. In previous episodes you will have seen my fiber collective, like this is all messy here now, my Fiber Collective subscription box. It's a Fiber Collective, and she has 3 different options for subscription boxes. You get one once a month. There's like the hand-dyed yarn box, I think, and the sock yarn box. And I have the farm yarn box because I thought it would be a fun way to find new small yarn producers in the United States and try different breeds of yarn. So this one, this is this, oh, I got this weeks ago. When did this come? This shipped at the end of February, so this was from the beginning of March. So this was the March box that I got a month ago that I'm finally showing to you. So this is a skein of Border Leicester from Yankee Rock Farm. Now, as part of my conversations about when we were getting sheep from last fall, like we're getting sheep this spring, I told you that I bought a skein of Finn sheep yarn that was also from Yankee Rock Farm. So she has Border Leicester and she has Finn sheep. And yeah, if you want to have some small farm yarn from a small woman-owned business in the United States, Yankee Rock Farm is a lovely thing for you to go look up. I will put links in the description box down below. But this is in my subscription box, and this is the first time I have ever touched, well, I mean, when I opened it was the first time I ever touched it. But this is the first skein of Border Leicester that I have ever touched, and like, it's just kind of exciting. It's fun. It's fun. Like, it's easy to find merino and like the more popular large breeds like Tarky or Rambouillet, or I can't think of any others on the top of my head. There's a lot of more common breeds of sheep that you can find easily, but Border Leicester is not one of them. So this was so exciting to like touch it for the first time and see what it is. So it feels really squishy. There is a little bit of crunch to it, I think, as I squish it. So I think it's gonna have some nice stitch definition and some nice bounce to it. There is a little bit of halo to it, just a little bit of halo to it, which has me a little bit concerned because like I cannot wear mohair or alpaca. Like, a lot of people think it's super soft and a lot of people love wearing it, but I cannot wear alpaca or mohair because the halo on those yarns and on those fabrics just makes me want to scream. I can't. So I am a little bit concerned that I would not like the halo, but it's not much. Like, it doesn't have a huge amount of fuzz just sticking out everywhere. There's just a little bit of bits and pieces sticking up. When I put it against my neck, it doesn't feel too bad. Like, my neck and right here is my most sensitive spot. It's not too bad. It feels a tiny bit of prickle in it, but it doesn't feel too bad. I think I will be able to wear it okay, but the real test of that is actually wearing it. So this is the natural colors. I don't know why I'm unwinding it. This is the natural color that it comes in. This is natural fleece color. It is 2-ply worsted spun. It's a little bit like it's heathered. Not every fiber is the same color. It's a little bit heathered. I'll show it to you up close. You don't want me to talk about it. You want to look at it and possibly touch it for yourself. So there is Border Leicester from Yankee Rock Farm. It's a lovely dark gray color, but I think it has a little bit of brown undertone to it. In real life, it's showing up a lot more charcoal on screen than I think it looks in real life. It's pretty close, but I think it has a little more brown in real life than, like, it's not brown, but like brown undertone to it. It's a warm gray. Shall we just say that? It's a warm gray. So this is one skein of Border Leicester. It is, what weight is it? I think it's DK. Yes, DK weight, 230 yards. Grown, sheared, and spun in the northeastern USA. So this is really exciting. This is fun. Like when I first got this subscription box, I was thinking that this would be a really good way for me to get single skeins of fun, interesting, different yarns and then just knit them all into socks, because I do want to knit myself a whole bunch of hand knit socks. So I'm going to try to knit this into socks, but given the slight halo, I'm wondering, oop, there it goes, nicely rolls back together. I'm wondering what would be the appropriate stitch pattern for it. I don't want to do something too complicated or like heavily textured, but I do think a bit of texture would work really well with this fiber. I think it's going to have a lot of like stitch definition, and the texture will really pop. So I want to do something with simple texture, but I don't have time to play with it right now, so I'll have to wait until I have more time. And then also in the box, there are also some little goodies. Oh, teardrop stitch markers. Already opened everything. And then I put it back in the box to wait until I could show it off like a good little podcaster. So they're in a little teardrop shape. Oh, you can't see that at all. I can't focus. Hang on. Oh, you kind of see it. This is, oh, it's not gonna work out. Okay, never mind. It's a small, well, it's kind of big actually, teardrop shaped little gold stitch marker. Can put them all away or I will lose them all and never see them again. Oops, doesn't wanna go for me. There we go. Oh, I didn't even eat my chocolate yet. Okay, a little chocolate bar. A little tag that you can include, like if you, like a gift tag. This took forever. Here's how to care for it. And then a little selection of check boxes. I don't know where this is from. Designed by comacraftco.com. Cute little card. And then there's a little like sock-sized project bag from AD Knits. Maybe I can focus on that for you. She also makes a lot of stickers and pins and things for your knitting. So it's a little camping themed one, and the mountains have knit stitch texture in the graphic, and then this is a little ball of yarn. So this will be perfect for me to have a pair of socks I'm knitting in and take it camping with me. It'll be perfect. My kids keep asking when we're going to go camping, and I'm like, well, when the snow is gone at the very least. I have no idea when that will be. So that is, I'm just putting it all away because otherwise it will be lost forever and I will never find it again. So there we go. That is all I have to show you today. I think this is kind of long. This is going to be like an hour, I think, at this point. So thank you very much for sticking with me this long for a whole hour. Hopefully the lighting hasn't been too terribly bad. I didn't want to sit, like usually I sit here and face that way, but it was so bright that I knew that it just wouldn't work out. So I decided to turn this way. So hopefully the lighting has been okay. I've been kind of tossing around the idea of getting an actual ring light and setting it up so that maybe my podcasts have better lighting. But I don't know. I don't want to get too fussy with it, and I do strongly prefer natural light, so we'll see what I end up doing. So you can tell me in the comments if you think the lighting is terrible and I need a ring light, or if you think it's okay. And I do read my comments. I'm not able to respond to all of them anymore, but I do read through all of the comments. So thank you for all of your lovely comments. And it has gotten to the point where between YouTube, Instagram, Ravelry, and my email, I can get like if I post on YouTube and I post on Instagram and I have like a test knit going on Ravelry and just the emails I get every day, I can easily get 100 comments or messages, emails, accumulative in a day. So I can't respond to all of my comments anymore. I just cannot. It's impossible. And I'm sorry if that upsets you, but I do really appreciate that you do comment, and I do read through my comments. I just don't have time to respond to everyone anymore because I have so many. So I decided that I would stop pressuring myself from trying to respond to every single one, because I would spend 2 to 3 hours every single day just responding to comments and like messages on Instagram, and it was unsustainable. It was entirely unsustainable, and it meant that I didn't have time for creativity or energy for creativity. And so I don't remember exactly when it happened, but sometime over the course of like the last fall into this winter, I was like, I have to stop. I have to stop trying to expecting myself to respond to every single message and every single comment. So if you do have a question, or you need to get a hold of me, like a pattern support question, or you know, some other important question, please email me. It's jessicamknits@gmail.com. Feel free to email me, and I will respond to all of my emails, but I cannot respond to all of my comments because there's just too many of them. And it's just me. I do everything. I write all the patterns, I knit all of the designs, I take all of the pictures. My husband takes all of the pictures. And I do all of the grading, I do all of the pattern writing, I do all of the formatting, I do all of the bookkeeping. I do it all. So yeah, it's just me. There's no social media or customer service department that can handle that stuff. So, and saying that my husband takes the pictures actually reminded me, if you are still here, I have a new release coming next Wednesday, the 12th of April. It is this shawl that I haven't shown you in a while. It is this shawl which is called Silverlake, and it will be coming out on Wednesday. So make sure you're signed up for my newsletter. Perhaps if I was a better podcaster, I would have shown you this at the very, very start. But anyway, this shawl will be released on next Wednesday. It is called Silverlake. Make sure you sign up for my newsletter because you will get the best discount when it is released. The yarn company that this is knit in North Bay Fiber Company Heritage DK, which is an American-made wool. It's polypay yarn. It's polypay. Or polypay tarky. This is an American-made wool. It's woolen spun, DK weight yarn. It is a very, very simple pattern, like very simple. This is easy, relaxing, calm, peaceful, the thing you knit when you're just really stressed out and tired and just need to relax. That's what this shawl is. It's mostly garter stitch with this little slip stitch detail down the center. And then you have really, really, really simple, very easy lace here at the bottom. Every single repeat of lace is identical, and it's really easy to read your knitting, and like it's really simple and easy. It's charted and written, so whatever, like the lace portion is charted and written, so whatever your preference is, you will have it available to you. So this one will be released Wednesday the 12th of April. And it's called Silverlake. So sign up for my newsletter and you'll get the best discount, and then I can also tell you about the kits that North Bay Fiber Co. will have of this yarn. She knit a sample using 2 colors. Like she did one color for the body of the shawl, and then she did a different color for the lace section, and it turned out absolutely stunning. So I can't wait to see what colors she has chosen for the kits. I don't know exactly what colors she's going to put together, so that will be very exciting. Please sign up for my newsletter so I can share this with you next Wednesday. And I think that is everything I have to say. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for still being here. if you are watching all the way to the end. I know not everyone does, and that's okay. But thank you for coming and spending some time with me to talk about knitting. I appreciate it very much. And please subscribe to my channel and like this video so that it can end up in front of more people. And until next time, happy knitting. Bye.